League of Legends, Wild Rift is now onto version 2.0 and season 1 of the competitive calendar has started. So it is time to get serious. We have been breaking down each champion, showing you how to get the most out of each. With the arrival of the new patch, a select group of champions will make their debut at the Wild Rift, arriving directly from Bandle City, the Yordles. Now it's time to focus on one of the most flexible and explosive selections for any lane, thanks to his long-range attacks and high-impact hybrid abilities, Corki. The daring bombardier. Corki is a ranged marksman usually played in the mid or dragon lane. He's one of the so-called scaling champions, alongside Nasus, Master Yi, Vayne, and the like. The later you get into the game, the stronger Corki becomes. A full-build Corki is a nightmare for the enemy team to deal with, to say the least. However, his lack of crowd control, CC, and the fact that he's very mana hungry is something that you need to be aware of, especially in the early game. That means, before he gets a couple of items, Corki will need to be especially aware of his positioning and use of skills. Overall, he's a very unique champion that deals huge amounts of mixed damage and can be very fun to play. Let's look at his ability. His passive ability, Hextech Munitions, allows some of Corki's basic attack damage to be converted into additional magic damage, as well as allowing him to summon the package in the allied base occasionally, giving him bonus movement speed as long as he has it with him. Let's move on to his active skills. His first skill, Phosphorus Bomb, fires a flash bomb at a target location, dealing magic damage to enemies in the area of impact. Additionally, this attack will reveal hit units for a moment. His second skill, Valkyrie. Corki will fly a short distance and drop bombs that leave a trail of fire that will damage opponents standing on it. If you have the package with you, the range and area of coverage of the bombs will be dramatically increased. His third skill, Gatling Gun. When activated, Corki's Gatling Gun will fire rapidly forward in a conical area, dealing damage and reducing enemies' armor and magic resistance. And his main ultimate, Missile Barrage, fires a missile at a target location which explodes on impact, dealing damage to enemies in the area. In addition, Corki passively accumulates missiles until reaching a maximum, making every third missile larger, which will deal additional damage. In what order to level up the skills? On Corki, the best thing you could do is max out your skill 1 first, then skill 3, and finally skill 2. Level 1, skill 1. Level 2, skill 3. Level 3, skill 2. Level 4, skill 1. Level 5, skill 4. Level 6, skill 1. Level 7, skill 1. Then keep leveling skill 1 until it's maxed, then focus on skill 3, and lastly on skill 2. Of course, whenever you can, you want to add 1 point into your skill 4, ult, recommended runes and spells for Corki. Corki can become one of the strongest champions within the mid lane, thanks to his missiles with area coverage and the level of mixed damage he can do as the game progresses, making him a difficult enemy to fight if you manage to have an advantage in the early game. These are his recommended runes. First is Fleet Footwork. By using basic attacks or abilities, you accumulate energy points. By accumulating 100 points, your next attack will heal you and increase your movement speed. Then Gathering Storm increases overall damage over time. Then Spirit Walker grants bonus health and increased slow resistance. And at last Manaflow Band increases your maximum mana when dealing damage to enemy champions. Being a burst-focused marksman, Corki must have spells focused on mobility and aggression. So, these are his spell. First is Flash. Allows you to have additional options to enter teamfights, engage single enemies, and as an additional escape tool, in case you don't have your Valkyrie on hand. Then it's Exhaust. Reduces your enemy's movement speed by 20% and their damage dealt by 40% for 2.5 seconds, making it difficult to escape your engagement. Now, the main thing you have been looking out, the best items for Corki. His items should be focused on improving his offensive stats, as well as increasing his mana, attack range, and durability within battles. These are his recommended items. First is Trinity Force. Its passives increase his explosive damage, in addition to granting him bonus movement speed. Then Gluttonous Greaves grants Omnivampirism, giving you a better chance of surviving in fights. We recommend using them with Quicksilver Enchant for crowd control. Then Manamune grants mana each time you use his abilities, in addition to increasing damage based on his available mana. Then Rapid Fire Cannon dramatically increases basic attack range and critical strike chance. Then Guardian Angel, the revival of its passive along with its bonus attack damage, allows you to fully attack squarely without risking giving away a kill along the way. Along with this, it's advisable to carry Mortal Reminder for increased armor penetration, Maw of Malmortius for compositions based on magic damage, and Death's Dance or Phantom Dancer for greater durability in individual and team fights. Gluttonous Stasis is an optional choice, which is mandatory if the enemy has a Zed or another powerful assassin. How to combo is Corki in Wild Rift. Corki doesn't exactly have a set combo, since most of his kit relies on you positioning in the best way possible to stay alive and deal lots of damage. But there are a few tips you could use to better take advantage of his powerful kit. Tips for Corki's play style. Corki is a flexible champion with ranged abilities, renowned for the large amount of DPS he can have in the mid and late game, thanks to his attacks dealing hybrid damage unlike other marksmen, which makes him a difficult opponent to face when up against him in the mid lane. His passive ability allows Corki to deal magic damage from the beginning of the game, depending on the amount of physical damage he has at that moment, so it is crucial to choose his items properly, depending on what you are going to face. For this, try to use your missiles when you have a good amount of mana, and you can benefit from the last hits, so you can scale better from the early game, and try to save the large missile, which will be highlighted in red, whenever you can for your enemy in lane, so you can harass him and, at the same time, take some gold. Also, try not to abuse the missiles since, like any weapon, it must be reloaded, which can leave you at a disadvantage when you have any engage or ambush. For these cases, always remember to have your Valkyrie on hand so you can finish off enemies with low health, leaving them no chance of escape, reposition yourself within a confrontation, or to quickly escape from any fight without having to spend your flash. Your Phosphorus Bomb will be one of the skills that you will use less, but that will be very helpful to reveal the position of an enemy in case of walking around the map without vision, neutralize an opponent who wants to do theirs with a low ally life, or even to steal or capture some greater target like a dragon or Baron Nashor. Finally, when you have the package available, try to use it with your Valkyrie mainly in team fights or against several enemies in between, so you can get the most out of its bomb blast, and you can get some assists or kills if you manage to make a good entrance. Other tips on playing Corki. Even though in the early game he's somewhat weak, his kit allows you to stay back and farm safely. Remember that as a Corki, you need items. Expensive ones for that matter. So, the best you could do is wait for your power spikes before you start playing more aggressively. Whenever Hextech Munitions is up you can look for plays around the map. Once Corki has the package he will be granted extreme movement speed that allows him to cover great distances. Use it to try and gank other lanes or help your team secure objectives. Skill 1 will grant you sight of the location it hits. Use it to reveal enemy champions in brushes where you don't have a ward placed. The package doesn't reset the cooldown of your normal skill 2, Valkyrie, so you can recast it as soon as you've used the package. When you want to go it, make sure you have the red bomb, big one, because it will deal more damage. What champions is Wild Rift Corki weak against? The best counter picks to use against Corki will be Aurelion Sol, Annie, and Twisted Fate have a good chance to win the matchup. What champions are good with Corki in Wild Rift? The best champions to use with Corki based on synergy are Lulu, Blitzcrank, Sona, and even Soraka are good combos. What champions are strong against Corki in Wild Rift? Champions that Corki is strongest against are Ziggs, Zed and Ken. If you liked the video then subscribe and do join our discord.so. Thanks for watching this video and have a nice day. Bye bye.